We might start without him, maybe we won't. Right?
Fine with me.
Looks pretty safe. Whitney?
Dear Heavenly Father, thanks for bringing us here safely tonight. Thank you for all the concerned citizens, and thank you for the first responders and the police and all the city workers that help make Boonville a great place. Please be with us tonight as we make the best decisions we can for the city of Boonville. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Whitney. Roll call.
Venable,
Here.
Dorman. Here. Stock,
Here.
Young,
Here.
Meadows. Here. Bozarth,
Here.
Hurt,
Here.
Carter.
Here. Everybody's here? We will proceed to hearing of citizens' comments. If you'd like to comment about anything, please come on up and do so. Sign the pad and tell us what ward you live in, and you have 5 minutes.
Joe Novi,
Hello,
Ward
Joe.
3. Council, Mayor, Administrator, good evening. I am a little concerned about the ordinance here hurrying up and trying to pass on the distance that you have to live to be in the city with the administrator employment or whatever. My past experience, I've lived here in Boonville for 2 years. This is a great community, no problem. I have the administrator that we have is doing, as far as I can see, a great job. I've had quite a few experiences, quite a few different administrators. And I am kind of perplexed, and maybe you can answer the questions, comments, all, that why is the big rush? And I have lived in communities, I've worked in communities where they have tried that the leaders of the community live outside the community, including fire chief, police chief, so on. And no offense against the lower echelon of the offices, the secretaries and things like that, it doesn't seem to hurt. But when you ask an administrator or a government official to live outside the community they serve, you're opening a can of worms that you may not really want. And what I propose, why I say that is because the vested interest that the administrator would have by living in the community is way greater than one that lives outside. 15 miles is not so much, but he is the guy that runs the outfit. He's the guy that proposes things, brings them to you, hopefully you pass them. Mayor runs the show a little bit, but the administrator usually is the person. And I'm not saying this would happen, and as far as I can see, it hasn't happened. But you get someone in here that may replace your existing administrator, and he may not really have a vested interest in the community. It's a job. He comes here and he makes decisions, and you guys kind of go along with it. And all of a sudden, 2 to 3 months or 2 to 3 years down the line, golly, we shouldn't have done that. And he don't care. He don't live in the city. He lives outside the city. I wouldn't care either. I know that there's been some talk, or what I understand, there was some passage about having people living outside the city to be on committees. That's a bad move, but it's done. But I really think you ought to consider what you're about to do, because it may come back to bite you. I've seen it happen so many times in other situations. My expertise, I was a code enforcement officer, building inspector from where I came from and retired. So I do have some knowledge about inner workings This is a little different setup than what I come from, and I'm learning as I go. But I really do think you reconsider. And I am confused on usually double readings at one council meeting is set aside for emergencies or to catch up with state and federal laws. So again, I don't know what the big rush is. There shouldn't be any rush in this one. I really, truly believe that. I thank you, and maybe you can enlighten me on why we're doing it like this.
Thanks, Joe. Anybody else? Judy?
Okay, I think most of you know me. I'm Judy Stock. Not my first trip to this microphone. What I'm going to do is read, you all already have a copy, but I'm going to read it for the benefit of the people in the back of me. To the mayor and the Boonville City Council, I have some complaining to do and a proposal that may provide a solution to the problem. Last Thursday evening, when the agenda was posted to the public for this meeting, I found under new business, the first item listed was first and second reading of bill number 2019-016, amending the residency requirements for city administrator. Digging deeper, I found the amendment was to require the city administrator to live within 15 miles of the city limits. Then comes the kicker. The bill copy within the council packet says, read for the first and second time past this day of May 2019, after a copy of this ordinance has been made available for public inspection prior to its first reading. Unless a person had a reason to check out the agenda, it would have been all too easy for few, if any, average citizens to know of this item at all. I have spoken to several people about this. Everyone commented on the fact there had been no public discussion on the subject and the rush to get it approved at the May meeting. One person said it's like Congress amending the Constitution without the states having a chance for ratification. Another person said the information should be put to the public 1 month, first reading the second month, second reading the third month, and vote during the fourth month. Why the rush? This kind of speed always brings up the question, is there something here that will upset the citizens? I found what citizens get upset about is not being trusted. The city government rushing a bill through makes us think someone is trying to put something over us. It really irritates us. Several people said they must have someone in mind already. My opinion, our current administrator is going to retire. The city has his replacement in mind. The replacement doesn't live within the city limits, so doesn't meet current requirements. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, don't you think the citizens of Boonville could understand that? Don't you think they would agree a well-qualified administrator would be a good choice? Changing regulations, especially in a hurry, can often come back around and slap you in the face with a lawsuit. What I suggest to you is to tear up the residency amendment, tell the citizens what is going on. Do you have someone in mind? If that person is well qualified, perhaps a residency waiver could be arranged for that person, or perhaps a paper title of acting administrator in this single instance. That way, no amendment would need to be made. The city would have a good administrator, and the citizens would know exactly who, what, why, where, when, and how. Then, whenever that administrator decided to retire or resign, the next administrator would have to meet the present requirements. Also, I suggest a specific procedure be set for presenting bills for approval, with a very specific emergency clause for the few times a true emergency exists. Having first reading, a second reading, and a vote at the same meeting appears to me to be poor policy at best. Transparency has a lot to be said for it. If I am correct in my assumptions, I heartily approve the choice you may have made. Okay, since then, the mayor and I have talked on the phone and we have emailed. I understand there are, some things changed, and I'm hoping that tonight he's going to make a full explanation so the public does have transparency and know what is going on. I have always tried to back the council. However, I have never hesitated to come forward when I thought something needed to be brought up. So I thank you kindly for putting up with me.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I could, I need to clarify something that didn't do it. And I need to make a motion to postpone indefinitely item G in new business. The first reading of a bill number 2019-019, amending chapter 10, license and taxation for further research by the city staff.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Whitney. Roll call.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Bozarth,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else for public comments?
Good evening. My name is Matt Snaringer. I actually live in Ward 1, but Jason Mattis and myself are representing the YMCA.
Good evening. I know most of you in this room, and you all know the impact that the Y has on the community of Boonville. Most of you, it's touched your lives in one way or another, whether you use the gym or you run a 5K or you've got kids in sports. And I just want to make sure that the Y can continue to have that positive and profound impact on the community. I am going to turn it over to Matt to give you more specifics.
Just wanted to share a little bit. I know the council's considering the possible improvements and renovations at Kemper campus and Johnson Field House. So I just wanted to touch on that briefly as it relates to the YMCA. Obviously, you know, I've been here 6 years. The YMCA has been here since 2000. And in my tenure, we've had what I would describe as a profound or significant impact on the community. And just to give you a little bit of an example or tidbit on that, we actually, in the last 5 years since I've been here, we've served over 6,000 different people from Boonville at the Y. Over 7,200, almost 7,300 in Cooper County. We've served over 2,300 different children in the last 5 years. And approximately in 2018, we've served 55% of the school district kids in Boonville School District. 55% in 2018 alone of those kids at Boonville have participated or done something at the Y. And 70% of the kids have come through the Y in some form or fashion, been a part of it. So 55% in programs, 70% of the kids in Boonville do something at the Y in some form or fashion. That's a large number. That's a large number of kids that we touch on a daily basis. And I won't even get into the adult or the older adult programs that we do. But I handed out a sheet, and I know in order for us to continue these programs that we're doing, we have to maintain a quality facility that meets the needs of our community. And those are just a sample of pictures, some of the things that we're going to look at improving, assuming that the funding is there in Johnson Field House. But a couple of higher items I want to talk about. And some of you, if you haven't walked through the YMCA, you might have noticed that the floors are not in the best of condition. They're quite unlevel, cracked, separating. Some of the foundations separating a little bit, needs to be looked at. We have a lack of HVAC and airflow, creating that kind of musty smell, that cooling and heating the place. Obviously, we know that the gym doesn't have AC, which isn't a big issue, but it does limit some of the stuff we do. And then some of the older plumbing, and honestly, I don't know if the city has done something with the plumbing recently, but we haven't had that sewer smell in the last 6 to 9 months. So I'm thinking the city did something to fix that, because I haven't smelled it recently, so I'm happy about that. But we've started working on electrical issues ourselves recently, but there's more to be done on that front as well. Some other things. We have grown so much in the last 6 months. We've actually had to turn families away in 2018, and we hate doing that. We don't have the space. We don't have the licensing capacity to serve them. So we've had to turn them away. Some of those are low-income families, some are not. You know, that was in the after-school program. With our summer camp program, we serve, last year we served over 90 kids a day. That's what we averaged, 90 kids a day. And they're kind of stuck up in that gym with no AC in the summertime. It gets a little warm, we send them out, but it's a large number of kids that we serve. And then obviously, for some of you that have kids in youth activities, you know how tight gym space is in this community. From about November to March, there is no gym space in this town. So it's something to consider, the availability of gym space and some other things that that extra gym space can do for the community, other than just youth activities. You know, we can also speak to the parking and the traffic concerns down at the YMCA on 3rd Street specifically, but Porter Street, making that turn, I've had to do it more than once, go out there and lift the car out of that ditch and get them back on the road, because they go down into that ditch because there's not and I actually put a couple pictures of that ditch in there on the last page, I think. But then the lack of access by trucks, any type of delivery, food delivery, it just makes it difficult. And then, of course, lack of parking for Kemper as a whole. Anytime there's any type of activities going down at Kemper, the YMCA parking lot is the first to get used up, which we don't mind usually, but sometimes it can create some headaches for us. So those are just some of the things, some of the pictures. I want to leave you with a few other thoughts on this, and I think how important the Y is to this community. I normally don't talk about this stuff publicly, but here's a couple of things I want to. We have our programs that we have to make money to support the operations of the Y. But here are some programs that we don't make money on, that we do in the community with donations from the community or some other type of funding we get. Did you know that we teach swim lessons to every second grader that comes through for a month? That's a collaboration with the school district. They bus them down in the middle of the day during school, and we work with them every day in April.
Down to 1 minute.
What's that?
You're down to 1 minute.
Oh, sorry. Taste of the Week. We collaborate with MU and the school district. We bring in nursing students to go into kindergarten classrooms throughout the school year to teach them about nutrition. I mentioned summer camp, the after-school program, nutrition counseling. We do that. Free annual fitness challenges. We do that. Silver sneakers. Older adults who have certain type of health get to come to the Y for free. We do that. MU physical therapy. That's free. We have them down at the YMCA. Older adults can get with the actually athletic trainers. Van transportation. We transport older adults to their medical appointments for free and to the grocery stores. Family counseling. We just purchased the daycare with our own money to keep that going in the community. And then, of course, we offer gym space free, and we do a lot of CPR, first aid, lifeguard certifications for free. Vanessa doesn't get paid for that. So those are just things, and that's what I'd like to leave you with. Thank you.
Timing. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Mary Pat. Whoops, up you go.
I am. I'm Mary Pat Obley, and it's a privilege to be here. I'm one of the 5 trustees that were selected by the County Commission to be on the board for the Boonville Regional Library Board of Directors, which includes 3 counties, Cooper County, Pettis County, and Benton County. And at this moment, I'd like to just ask those who are here with me, either as staff or board members or supporters,
just to stand up, so you know that we have support. Years ago, 10, 12, 15 years ago, it's been since then that it's been clearly discussed that a new library facility was needed. More spacious, more inviting. As of, I think middle of May, if I'm remembering, May 13th, the Cooper County Library that is focused in Boonville has 7,752 library card members. We also have, as far as the number of titles that are at this library, not necessarily ones that you can exchange from other libraries, over 44,000 titles. We have needed a new place for a long time. When State Fair Community College decided to consolidate their operation into Science Hall, so not to be split between two buildings, it left the Library Learning Center on the campus as an ideal place to relocate the library. Unbelievably, when that building was first renovated by Kemper, when Kemper was still in business, it was renovated as a library. So the workloads and the tow loads of all the different floors can handle the books. They can handle anything. And the city, when State Fair came, finished the lower level, put in some of the most important things. It is the perfect place. It's a perfect place for a library. It's historic. It's in really good shape. It's expansive. And probably the most important thing, it's in close proximity to the YMCA and State Fair Community College. The programs that we could do in collaboration are unbelievable. Now, unlike Matt, who handed out information, being a school teacher, I'm not doing that until the end of my presentation. But what I want you to know is that the Boonville Regional Library Board is extremely interested and planning to move the library if, and the big question is if, several things happen. Probably three big things. First of all, parking. Parking needs to happen close to the building. The entrances need some improvement to accommodate handicapped, and also pedestrian access. Now, working with the city, and I compliment you, Earl, and your staff, and everybody else, working with you, there is a design that would give, once K Barracks is torn down, K Barracks is the one that's behind the Library Learning Center and A Barracks. Once that's torn down, to use the fill to provide parking area for 32 additional spaces and additional handicap spaces, and do other amenities. Now, I know that the sales tax proposal, this is a minute point, but for the library, these things have to happen for us to be able to move. Oh, I think the most important thing for all of us to realize is that we talk about the city, and then we think that's separate from us, but it's not. Each of us as residents of the city are part of the city, and we have a responsibility, all of us do, to enhance the facilities here and improve the quality of life. We have an opportunity with a short-term sales tax to not only allow the residents here, but everybody outside the city limits, everybody from the county, every visitor that comes here to help us create this wonderful space.
1 minute, Mary Pat.
That's okay. It is a magnet. When you think about what's been developed with the Katy Trail, the Tourism Center, the Chamber of Commerce, the bridge, and the 2nd Street corridor, this could only be an addition to that wonderful plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Pat.
And I'm going to give you my folders, so I hope that doesn't take time out for me.
No.
I'll send them around for any extras. And if any of you need any of this information for your constituents, please know we are happy to do that.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Randy Eaton, and I've met many of you here before, and thank you for giving me just a brief opportunity. I promise I won't take 5 minutes. But I'm here on behalf of the Boonville Regional Library, but I also serve currently as the president of the Board of Trustees for State Fair Community College. And I'll just make a note that I remember when we first came to Boonville, we were welcomed with open arms. The then mayor, she, and all of the council people, all of the people that were there were very excited about the possibility of bringing the college to a permanent location here, and it has grown. It's continued to grow, and I've served on the board of the Boonville Regional Library, and for many years we've all known that the Cooper County location needed to be improved and needed to grow. You have constituents that want to use those services, particularly children. They need space desperately. And when the opportunity came about for State Fair to move into the Science Building, then the Library Center came about, and we looked at the opportunity, and from the very beginning we weren't quite sure we could make all of that work, but hopefully we can, and we do appreciate what the city has done both for the college and then now for possibly moving forward and putting the library with the college and with the YMCA in a historic presence of the Kemper campus. We all are very excited about that, and I just want you to know that those of us that are kind of on the outside with some of our entities here, that we're very supportive, and any way that we can help or information that we can get to the city council, we want to move that forward so that your constituents will know what that short-term vote might be. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Brad Wooldridge. I am a resident of Ward 1. I appeared before the council 2 weeks ago and explained my concerns with the original request for street closures for Heritage Days. I don't feel it's appropriate to repeat all of them in detail tonight. I'll be brief and only want to make a few comments. The carnival. It's a clear issue. It's my understanding that the carnival prefers to be downtown and does not like the Kemper campus. If the carnival wants to be downtown and we can find a spot that does not detrimentally affect local businesses, then the carnival should work with the space that it's given. If the carnival wants or needs more space, it has all the room it needs at Kemper. It spent 10 years down there. But my main concern with the carnival is that it comes to town once a year, it sets up shop, and then it leaves. But in regards to small business in Boonville, the struggle is real. We work year-round to survive. We employ our citizens, we collect and pay taxes, and we regularly give back to charitable and civic causes. So with this in mind, who should the city and the chamber really be looking out for? I'd like to remind the council, on the street closure paperwork that was submitted to the city, it said, in reference to informing WJ's of its proposal, quote, "No signature refused," end quote. No one ever spoke to me, and I did not refuse anything. To date, I still don't know who falsified the information that was presented to the city, but I think my business and the city deserve an explanation. After the last council meeting, I met with one representative from the Heritage Days Committee, along with the mayor. Our meeting was amicable, it was positive, and we left with a handshake and what I thought was a tentative agreement. Since that time, potential street closures have changed several times, and there have been numerous inaccuracies and plain falsehoods spread around town regarding my concerns. As I stand here tonight, I still have not been apprised from the chamber of its exact intent or request. In fact, at 6:12 this evening, I received a text saying that the chamber again intends to move forward with the original discussion. In regards to the chamber, I'd like to share with the council some of the comments that have been recently made on social media by who I believe is the current president of the Chamber Board of Directors. They include, "I do not give two expletives if Brad is happy." "You have a mass of people at your doorstep, why are you griping?" "The carnival will not come back if it's at Kemper. If Brad cannot get people to his business with that many people in his area, that's on him, period. To try and plan an event that doesn't quote-unquote butt hurt people is ridiculous. Good Lord, if people want to go to WJ's, they will. I will let the council form its own opinion, and I will abide by it. But comments like that are divisive and unprofessional and should not be representative of an organization whose goal is to promote local business and commerce. Thank you very much."
Thank you, Brad. Okay. Hearing of citizens' comments will close. Approval of minutes of the May 6, 2019 council meeting. Are there any corrections or changes? They will stand as submitted. There are no consent items. Presentation of accounts and claims is on page 9.
Ordinance appropriating money, be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the city of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on May 20th, 2019, the sum of $543,915.59. General fund, $274,029.45. Sanitation, $3,142.09. CIP tax, $19,015.38. Waterworks, $67,566.64. Capital projects, $13,925.65. Wastewater, $81,191.90. Tourism, $17,307.74. Gaming, $49,844.95. Parks and Water, $17,891.79. Section 2, the accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $543,915.59, being the total amount of money above appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage first reading on May 20th, 2019. Read for the second time this 20th day of May, 2019, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Thank you, Morris. There's a second. Thank you, Whitney. Any discussion? Roll call.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman.
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Bozarth,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Item 7, unfinished business. First item, item A, is second reading of bill number 2019-015, amending the budget for fiscal year 2019 through 2020.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the budget for the period April 1st, 2019 through May 31st, 2020.
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Thank you, Morris. Thanks, Mike, for the second. Any discussion? Yes?
No discussion.
No discussion, okay. Roll call.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman.
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Bozarth,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Okay, item B, consider street closure and parking restriction request for the Heritage Day celebration for June 18 through 23 of 2019.
I don't have anything now. This
Okay.
is from the last
All right.
meeting.
Oh, Jim?
Good evening. My name is Jim Niederjohn. Some of you know me, some do not know me as well. Give you a little background. Back to Sesquicentennial. Basically, I did the logistics and the layout for it. First Heritage Days, I did logistics, I did layout. Second Heritage Days, I did logistics, I did layout. I could keep going, but I'm not going to do that. Take it too long. But I feel I have a pretty good knowledge of what does work. I feel I have a pretty good knowledge of what does not work. I also feel I have a pretty good knowledge of how it will affect everything, based on what I've done and on my kind of background. Heritage Days was started in an attempt to try and get people to come to downtown Boonville. Get people down there, get them in front of the business. What the business does with them, that is up to them. But get the people downtown was what it was. It's a one-time-a-year event. It's held one time a year. Basically, there have been there have been 3 proposals that have been made. In my opinion, the first proposal, wait, let me back up a minute. Something was said earlier about the carnival. Yeah, the carnival comes to town. Yes, they leave town. Not talking about what they spend for food, entertainment, anything like that. 40,000 here, 25,000 here, 30,000 here on different years. They've come back here to this town because they're like the people here to get repair work all done. They have put a pretty substantial amount of money back into this town, which no one really realizes. So I'm not saying they just walk in and then they walk out. They leave something here when they come back. Okay, jumping back, there have been 3 different proposals this year. We came before the city council back in November. Matter of fact, it was November 5th. We had a proposal. We'd asked to be on the agenda. It turned out we were on the citizens' comments. There was lots of talk mainly about where to park the camping trailers. There was no decision made at that time, even though we wanted to inform the council well ahead of time what we were doing. And that was our intent for coming here. Okay. Out of the 3 proposals that there have been, that is probably the best one that we have. There was a second proposal that came up with that has been mentioned already tonight. It gave very little room for a carnival. The carnival would probably have come in, looked at it. We're not even setting up. It also put the beer garden under a very quick obligation of having a very short time to get everything set up and functioning. It would have almost been, I don't know if it could have been done in time. And that's why I don't feel it was a good one, for those 2 reasons. There is a third option. The third option, I believe personally, and this is only my belief, is that it will hurt the number of people in attendance and it will hurt the profitability of the events by moving there. And I don't think I'm very wrong on that one either. The best proposal is the one that we did back on November 5th. I don't know if y'all would consider that and going forwards with it.
What is the second option and third option? What's the location?
The second option is a downtown one. It gives a very small amount of room for the carnival. Puts the beer garden over here in the lot by the bank. It is my understanding they do get Spring Street, but only later on in the day after the traffic would kind of slow down on it. And those were the 2 major things there. And there would be nothing in the city lot down here. And there would be, there was something about the use of the Casey building and all like that. But due to the amount of room and everything, I don't think that would be a feasible option. The other one is moving the beer garden and the carnival down to 2nd Street. And I think that would hurt both of them in the long run a little bit financially and everything else. The object has always been to get everything as close as we can. We've hurt ourselves for several years. We've hurt the carnival for several years by having them somewhere other than with everything else. Last year they did quite good. Everything did pretty good. And that was by having everything together.
Having everything together last year was downtown here?
Yes.
And so this year, everything is the same?
Our proposal number 1 was that we spoke of back in November, was to have everything downtown here, yes.
So what I have here dated Friday, June 21st, 2019, is that option 1 that we had last meeting?
Yes.
That's option 1.
May I see it?
Here's your. Yeah, I mean, we just got this 2 weeks ago.
Yes. This was
Option 1.
Jim, could I throw another option out to you and see what you think?
You can throw it out.
How about, we was talking about the carnival being on the city parking lot and, down Sixth Street on the city parking lot over here, right?
Is this a new option?
Well, that's why I'm gonna throw you a new option out and see what you think. In other words, leave everything like it is, except we'll open up Chestnut Street. Won't be nothing on Chestnut. Carnival will be on the city parking lot. Carnival will start on, that roadway, leave that alley behind, Boone Clinic. In other words, leave Sixth Street open all the way down to Boone Clinic. Then the carnival proceeds along Sixth Street, plus using the city parking lot over here. Put the beer gardens on the bank parking lot, close off Spring Street Friday morning, where they can set their tent and everything up in Spring Street.
Basically, that is the same proposal, from what I'm understanding, that was number 2 here, except for the closing Spring Street on
Right.
Friday morning.
It is.
There isn't enough room for the carnival.
There's one difference.
How much more room do you need for the carnival? We're not eliminating, one thing we're eliminating for the carnival is Chestnut Street.
Okay, where would it start on Sixth?
At Boone Clinic, on the, road right behind Boone
Okay,
Clinic.
you're taking off all of Chestnut, and you're taking a portion of Sixth
Right.
Street away from it also,
Away from what?
away from the carnival. What are, and you aren't really adding anything.
The parking lot there, right?
The parking lot, was that in your first proposal?
No, the parking lot was not.
Okay, we're adding the whole parking lot to make up for Chestnut.
We might get by with that. I don't know what the Eagles would say about the beer garden.
Eagles is fine with, the proposal on the beer garden.
If we have the street closed from the alley main
Yes,
that morning, it would give us time to set up our equipment,
Yes.
set up
the
tents.
Spring Street would be closed at first thing Friday morning, and the only thing we have to leave open is that alley so that they can
Right.
get to the post office.
Right.
What do you think about that proposal?
Then also you've got that lot there at Casey's that's been thrown into that, you can use that for whatever you want to use it for.
Is that still in it?
I don't know. Brad, he owns that property.
So, the way I understand it, Mr. Carter, now you're suggesting that leaving the parking lot on the corner of Sixth and Chestnut open for the carnival,
Yes.
but then still be able to utilize property that I own on Sixth Street,
No.
Casey's lot?
Well, that's what they're asking. Would they?
Yeah, this is a new proposal. Here we are again.
I'm asking.
Well, we're trying to end it now. We're trying to satisfy everybody, and there's no way we're gonna get everyone satisfied. We've got everything downtown for the merchants. We're gonna have the people downtown. We're gonna have the beer garden down here. And, we're trying to leave the Chestnut Street on and all that parking space, on Sixth Street in front of your business open.
All of Sixth Street in front of the business from the alley behind Boone Medical Clinic?
Yes, all the way down to the alley.
And then are we gonna have a little walkway or something so that people can have ingress and egress to the carnival on the parking lot? In front of fire station number 2. I mean, they're gonna have to be able to access that.
Yeah. I mean, people will be walking into it.
Yeah, but, I mean, we're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna safely and.
I mean, okay, that's a minor thing. Don't you think we could figure that out? Surely ML can figure that out. Only thing they're asking is, would it be possibility if they need it to use the Casey lot? We're giving a little bit, they're giving a little bit, and I'm
So
hoping
at
you.
this point, the proposal that I still really never seen, now getting tweaked to accommodate by, basically, you're gonna leave Chestnut Street open for me and the parking spot immediately in front of
No, the whole,
WJ's.
no,
It's up
not
to the
just in
alley.
front of WJ's. You're leaving parking spaces open in front of WJ's plus the house next to it.
But if you do that though, Mr. Carter, and you don't have ingress and egress between Sixth Street by that alley to the parking lot where the carnival is, then you've landlocked that carnival on the parking lot.
Well,
and
they can go through that drive right, by the side of the post office, they're gonna have ingress all the way through the alley. All that's gonna be open, you know, by the,
I see what you say. When we sat down, I don't care if the carnival is on the parking lot, if it's on the parking lot. I mean, the pictures I presented to the council last year showed the problems that I had. And none of the proposals that were submitted to the city council ever showed any effort to compromise.
well, that's
If the
what,
committee wants to say, we're gonna use that city parking lot for the carnival and leave Chestnut open and leave the area in front of my restaurant open, I don't have a problem with that. I didn't have a problem with the beer garden setting up in the First State Community Bank parking lot. I don't have a problem with that. But I feel now it's a little unfair to then turn around and ask me to donate property that I originally had offered as part of a compromise, and then
we're
just
not,
leave everything
we
as it
have no
was.
control over that, Jim.
How far down, Spring Street can we go to the east of Sixth? At one time, there
You
was
mean down to Sixth
one of the
Street- down
proposals
Sixth
had
Street?
that in it, yes.
That's up to y'all, I don't, we, you know, as far as the city council go,
Had to leave the clinic open.
Right.
You'll have to leave ingress and egress to Boone Medical Clinic open at least for
Right.
a week because the carnival comes to town
Can we work
on
that out?
Tuesday. And they're here all week long.
And out here in front of the post office to the drive.
To the alley,
I've got that, I've talked to the post office personally,
it's to the alley.
We'll try and make it work.
thank you. Mayor,
Try and make it work.
I used to be right where you're at. I understand every one of your concerns, and I wasn't gonna speak up, but I am now.
Go.
I'll make a motion to approve my recommendation.
Is there a second? Second. Discussion by the council. Susan?
We keep going through this for the time I've been on the council. And I don't think it's fair to any business owner, whoever, to block access to their business. And it sounds like this has been a reoccurring problem. I believe it has been a reoccurring problem. I see somebody shaking their head, but
I got a question with this first. I'm going back.
Susan
Hey,
first.
Steve.
Let Susan finish up.
Finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
Thank you,
would like
Steve.
to see work to get this resolved once and for all, so we don't go through this every year in May. And you all either need to work together, or I think the best proposal then, if you guys can't work it out, Second Street is the perfect corridor for a carnival. And you figure out how to bring people to the uptown area. That's all I have to say.
Okay, may I make a comment on
Yeah,
that?
please. Do you have, by the
There
way,
have been some years where no, it has not been a problem. Other years, yes, it has been a problem.
I was gonna ask, do you have any data that shows the impact of it being at Second Street versus up here on the downtown area? Do you
No
have any
written or
data? This
anything,
is-
no, I doubt if we
This
do.
is just your
We
perspective
have,
on it.
we have had it down
Okay.
at what I'm going to call Kemper Park in the past,
Right.
yes. And the vendors loved the shade down there and everything. They loved it. Their biggest complaint was, there are no people. No one comes down.
I think there are creative ways to take people down to that area. We've had trolleys before during Heritage Days. I think there's all sorts of possibilities if you set
Yes.
your mind to it.
Yes, we have. We've had trolleys before, we've used them before, and we stopped using them due to the kids jumping on and off of them while the trolleys were moving.
Well, again, find a solution for that. There are solutions here. And just because we've done it here in the downtown area forever, doesn't mean it has to continue forever if it's becoming a problem. There, I'm done.
Steve?
I guess this is towards Brad. If I look at this first, what we got on Friday, June 21st, it seems like to me where it says carnival going around there, if that's just carnival rides and there's nothing else in front of your building, wouldn't you benefit more by the walk-through traffic than you would the cars in front?
That's kind of what I tried to address with the council meeting last time, is that for people to suggest that you get foot traffic from the carnival in a sit-down restaurant,
Right.
doesn't happen. We tried it last year as part of a compromise, and I documented what happened last year. And we had problems the entire week, and I want to remind the council that when the carnival comes to town and it sets up shop downtown, it comes in town on Tuesday. It takes over those areas downtown Boonville from Tuesday through Saturday.
So you have less traffic than you would,
Yeah, because they're blocking, I mean, they spend Tuesday and Wednesday preparing for a Thursday carnival, so they have all of their trucks coming and going that entire week, and there's little parking. As I had said earlier, I don't care if the council approves to put the carnival there on Sixth Street, but my biggest concern is why are we working so hard to appease the carnival? We have a spot where the carnival can have as much room as it wants. I don't have any objection to the beer garden being downtown. If the carnival found a spot on Second Street, the beer garden could set up in multiple different places downtown. But if we're gonna try to set up a 2 to 3 block quadrant in downtown Boonville to appease the carnival, and Mr. Niederjohn was correct, they do give money back to the city. But they're here 1 week and they're gone, and the rest of us are struggling year round. So from day one, if you wanna go back to the November 5th, 2018 meeting, when there was a proposed street closure, no one called me. They had, and I mean, we know how the game gets played. You're obligated to go talk to adjacent property owners. And so for the last 6 months, no one has come to talk to me. It wasn't until I discovered at 4:10 in the afternoon of the last council meeting that all of a sudden, this is what we're gonna try to push through, and there's information on the forms that say that I refuse signature. If I hadn't been apprised of that information, it probably would've got approved, because there was no objection from me. So I had to come and say something. And now my name's been ran through the mud throughout the community, because I'm trying to move all of Heritage Days down to Second Street. And for the people that were paying attention, they know that that's not accurate. I have been willing to sit down with anybody and everybody to talk. And I've spoke to one representative from the Heritage Days Committee, and the mayor sat in on that meeting so he could hear what we were working on. And that's when, Mr. Carter, I offered, saying, look, in the effort of compromise,
I know.
I'll donate some property and I'll donate electricity. Let's work this thing out. But that wasn't good enough because it couldn't appease the carnival.
Mayor, I call for the vote.
Good thought.
Can we go through what the vote entails?
Okay, I'm gonna give you the description as I understand it.
Okay.
This is the carnival and beer tent. He's enclosed between Chestnut and the other side of, the city property here.
So
That's north-south. East-west is basically the backside of the Main Street buildings.
Okay.
Sixth Street, over to the alley by the Boone Medical Clinic. Okay?
Okay, right there.
Then Sixth Street helps. It's part of the property that they'll be using. All the way up to the alley next to the car wash
Car wash is right,
and next to Derendinger's.
right next to Darren.
Jim, I can't commit to you that little bit of, I think you were looking for 60 or 70 feet there on Spring Street. I don't know if that can be committed, but it would seem to me that we could work that out with the clinic.
We would like to work that out. It would be a help.
Yeah. Now, as far as the change from last year, Steve, Sixth Street in front of WJ's is picked up. It's now cleared,
Okay, in
Okay.
front of WJ's, okay, nothing,
right? And Chestnut is cleared.
nothing on Chestnut,
Those are the changes to last year.
so.
Everybody clear?
I think we need a vote on the vote.
Ma-
So
Well, just-
May I make a comment?
where's the beer garden?
Hang on, one at a time,
can't right
okay?
now.
One at a time. Do you understand?
Not yet.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
So where's the beer garden gonna be?
The beer garden is gonna be in Spring Street and on the backside of the,
First State Bank.
First State Bank parking lot.
It's an alley, right?
Oh, it's gonna be back here in the alley?
Yeah, right off the alley there in the alley.
Be
in
off
Spring
of the
Street.
alley.
Yeah,
Off of the
the
alley.
alley
We
will be
can't
left
eat the
open.
alley.
So Spring Street to Main.
So Spring Street to Main is the beer garden.
There you go.
Beer garden right here.
You got it?
And that's Carnival, Beer Garden,
You got it?
I guess.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
I've got it?
Yes.
Okay.
I have it.
Aye.
Roll call.
Oh,
You, Jim
what are we
can't,
at?
you can't at this point.
Venable.
Hold on here, we haven't even voted on to vote.
Yeah, we need,
That's what he said.
We had a motion and a second.
I had a motion to vote.
It's a call to the question, yeah.
Yeah, call a
Yeah,
question.
so that's why I was,
No, to vote on this, approving this, recommendation.
well, you're,
so he called roll call, so I'm gonna go for the amendment. That's what we're
Oh.
voting on, is the amendment. We're not voting to see if we can vote.
No, no.
So we're voting on the amendment.
We're voting on the package.
All right, Venable,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Stock,
yes,
Young,
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
Meadows,
Yeah.
Yes.
Bozarth,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Majority is yes. We know the plan.
did that vote include west of Main?
No.
Then I would like to ask for the closings that we have listed for the west of Main.
West of Main.
Well, let me,
What, I don't, Jim, I have no clue
you're
what,
really-
what is west.
he's talking about the rest of the street polling for the crash shows.
Oh, that's the rest of the story, you're right.
Yes.
You're right.
And that's my
That's,
part.
did you include it or not?
I didn't include it, but it should be.
Okay, well, let's do
Where's
the
that?
separate
Yeah.
motion then, Morris. Good point. No,
Okay,
you
I'm
you
sorry,
don't
Jim.
have to apologize. We didn't include it.
That's all,
All
okay.
west of Main.
Go.
Okay, let's make a motion that, in other words, all the carnival or in this area be approved like we talked about, which also the street closings include the additional streets west of Main on Spring Street for the car show and, the block in, Center Street, between Main Street and the alley in Center.
Is that,
We always close that, that's in his motion. Huh?
Just put it on the
let's,
Yeah,
Morris,
4th Street for
Morris,
the
let's
car
go
show.
back. Let's-
No, I'll tell you what, let's let Jim explain this additional. You know,
What I'm asking street closing for is west of Main, Spring Street, let me find where I'm at here. Street for crafts between Main and Fourth. The card show, I'm asking for Fourth Street from Morgan to Vine, from Main along Chestnut to Fourth, and the card show from Fourth Street, Fourth and Spring, down to Third and Spring. And there is also Center Street. We would like that closed off for a while also on Saturday for the Shriners activities.
Go.
then I'll make a motion of what Jim's recommendation, street closing, plus my recommendation for, downtown area. And that's, in other words, just reiterate, that's, leaving Chestnut and Sixth Street down to the alley behind Boone Clinic over.
Is there a second?
What?
Is there a second? Discussion.
Discussion is, I have a question.
Good. Go.
Is this copacetic to everybody involved?
Well, probably not.
I mean, is this what, the people who are arguing, is this okay with everyone?
This is,
You're
this
happy?
is,
Okay.
this is on the other side of what we were talking about before.
If we use the parking lot on the corner of Sixth and Chestnut, and then Spring, or Sixth Street, from the alley immediately south of Spring up to Spring, and then use the section of Spring that they talked about, and then Sixth up to the alley immediately north of Spring Street, leave property that I own alone, Chestnut remains open, and Sixth Street in front of WJ's up to the alley remains open, with my understanding that the Eagles are gonna have their beer garden across the street and use the section of Spring Street. I am amendable to trying this one more time, but I have extreme concerns that we're gonna have the same problem with a carnival uptown for a full week with equipment coming and going, and I think that is detrimental to the downtown business operation through the course of the week. But I'll give it another shot.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Roll call.
So did we just add some?
I just called for the roll call.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Bozarth,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Okay, done.
I'm not sure what you got.
New business. Item A. First and,
On the original with the amendment.
we just did the original portion.
Yeah, we just did the original.
And we did the amendment first. They got separated. Item A, first and
Yeah,
second
we got-
reading of bill number 2019-016, amending the residency requirements for the city administrator. Before we get into discussion on this, I want to answer Judy. For the most part, I was responsible for putting this together and asking for it to be agended, mostly because of my own past business experience, and I am beginning to learn what a wonderful thing it is to be involved in government, as you could see from the last discussion. We do currently have employees and managers who live outside the city limits. And based upon my own personal training that I took on when I joined the council in 2012 by going to as many Missouri Municipal League meetings as I possibly could, where I found out that small and medium-sized cities do have a great deal of difficulty with this particular issue. And we're seeing an increasing number of smaller communities that have to go outside in order to get qualified folks. A great example happens to be our water department. We went outside, really outside, right, ML? To get very competent, qualified management of our water department. And they're doing a great job. They are. So that was the impetus, Judy. It was the reason that I pushed on this. The mistake absolutely should not have been first and second reading. No way. Want to say I told you so? Well, it's also one of the things that I learned in business, is when you make a mistake, you fess up.
I appreciate that, but I just think that the citizens are behind you guys as long as they know what's going on. But they
and-
have to know.
Yeah, it's a great point. It really is, and it was a good lesson, and I appreciate it. So what I would like to do is go ahead and we're gonna do the reading. And from a parliamentary standpoint, we can't just automatically do what everybody has suggested, but we've got a way to do it because my fearless leader right here has created it. So, let's do the reading.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the residency requirements for the city administrator to a 15-mile radius as previously established for department heads and city clerk, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that the current ordinances of the City of Boonville and the incorporated personnel manual provide that the city administrator must be a qualified voter and resident of the City of Boonville within 30 days of his or her hire as referenced in the Code of Ordinances of the City of Boonville be amended to state Section 2-50, Appointment and Qualifications. A, the city administrator shall be appointed by majority vote of the City Council for an indefinite term. He or she shall be at least 21 years of age, and he or she shall be chosen solely on the basis of his or her executive administrative qualifications, with special reference to his or her actual experience in or his or her knowledge of accepted practice in respect to the duties of the office hereinafter set forth. At the time of his or her appointment, he or she not be a resident of the city or the state, but during his or her tenure shall reside within 15 miles of the city limits of the City of Boonville and devote his or her full time to the performance of the duties of his or her office. And in the general recruitment considerations of the personnel manual, number 2, persons filling department head positions, city clerk and city administrator, must reside within 15 miles of the City of Boonville within 6 months of their hire. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval. Section 3, that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. First and second reading, May 20th, 2019, read for the first and second time, passes 20th day of May, 2019. After a copy of this ordinance has been made available for public inspection prior to its first reading.
Second reading, title only.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the residency requirements for the city administrator to a 15-mile radius as previously established for department heads and city clerk, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Mayor, I make a motion to have a third reading on this bill at the next council meeting, June the 3rd.
Is there a second? Second. We got lots of seconds there. Oh, all right. Discussion? Roll call.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Bozarth,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Karcher.
Yes.
Thank y'all. Appreciate that. We got 2 weeks, Judy. Item B, first reading of bill number 2019-017, amending C1 and C2 districts.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the list of permitted uses in the C1 Local Commercial District and C2 Central Commercial Zoning District, Boonville Code of General Ordinances, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item C, first and second reading of bill number 2019-018, temporary sales tax for capital improvements at Kemper School campus.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, imposing a temporary sales tax for capital improvements on the Kemper School campus, providing that the sales tax will be in effect for a period of 5 years, and providing an effective date therefore, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a temporary sales tax for capital improvements as authorized under Section 94.510 RSMO be imposed at a rate of 7/8% on the receipts from the sale at retail of all tangible personal property or taxable services at retail within corporate limits of the City of Boonville, if such property and services are subject to taxation by the State of Missouri under the provisions of Sections 144.525 RSMO. Section 2, that said tax will be in effect only for a period of 5 years beginning January 1st, 2020, and continuing through December 31st, 2025. Section 3, that said tax and this ordinance shall have no effect unless a proposal authorized the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri to impose such sales tax submitted at the next municipal election of the City of Boonville is approved by a majority of the votes cast by the qualified voters voting thereon. Such proposal shall be worded as follows. Shall the City of Boonville impose a temporary sales tax of 7/8% of 1% for the next 5 years to make capital improvements on the Kemper School campus in order to provide expanded youth and adult programs through the Boonville Heartland YMCA at Johnson Fieldhouse and Academic Hall, and to provide additional and handicap accessible parking for the entire Kemper campus, yes or no. Instructions to voter: if you are in favor of the question, place an X in the box opposite yes. If you are opposed to the question, place an X in the opposite box opposite no. Section 4, the city clerk is hereby directed to certify and submit this temporary sales tax ballot issue to the county clerk. First reading and second reading, May 20th, 2019. Read for the second time and passed this 20th day of May 2019 after a copy of this ordinance has been made available for public inspection prior to its first reading.
Second reading, title only.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri imposing a temporary sales tax for capital improvements on the Kemper School campus, providing that the sales tax will be in effect for a period of 5 years, and providing an effective date therefore.
Mayor, make a motion to be approved.
Thank you, Morris. Second.
I second.
Thank you, Susan. Discussion? Roll call.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Bozarth,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Item E, consider resolution R 2019-02, approving an agreement with Concrete Solutions LLC for Crone Street curb and gutter improvements, Phase 3. This is a resolution.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri approving and accepting an agreement by and between the City of Boonville, Missouri and Boonville Community Development Corporation pertaining to economic development services, whereas the City of Boonville, Missouri has received a proposal to enter into an agreement by and between the City of Boonville, Missouri and Boonville Community Development Corporation, and whereas under the proposal, the City of Boonville, Missouri shall pay the sum and amount of $45,000, and as consideration therefore, the City of Boonville, Missouri shall receive services relating to industrial, economic, and community development as more fully described in the proposed agreement attached to this resolution and incorporated by reference as though agreement were set forth herein. Therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between the Boonville Community Development Corporation and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to the provision of economic development services, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A, is attached hereto and made a part hereof, is hereby approved. Section 2, that the mayor and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and test said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force after its passage and approval past this 20th day of May 2019 by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri.
Okay, just as a clarification, I read the wrong lines. What I should have read is consider resolution number R 2019-01, approving a contract for economic development services with Boonville Community Development Corporation. That fits with what she just read. Okay. Motion? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second? Your second,
Yep.
Vanessa? Thank you. Discussion, questions?
I've got a question on section 10, about the agreement, and renewals can only be terminated by unanimous mutual agreement of all three parties. Been my experience in the past, to get three parties to agree on anything is almost impossible. But I mean, where are we at in a situation where this whole thing is not working and something needs to be done?
It's, well, one of the ways in which to stop things like that, of course, is through the funding. that's one of the ways to stop it. But, read that again for me, please, Brett.
So this agreement and the renewals can only be terminated by unanimous mutual agreement of all three parties, the city, the county, and the corporation.
Okay.
And said agreement to terminate must be at least 90 days prior to any effective date of termination of this agreement.
So the problem is the three parties, is what you're saying?
Right, I mean, I hate it to be just one, but I think maybe you could do two or something like that, because let's say the county decides they don't wanna do it anymore, and they, yeah, I think there needs to be a little check and balance, but trying to get three of them to do it at the same time on something is, and if we've got a situation, I think we need to have a little bit more
Kenny?
leeway there.
Kenny, of course, has been in charge of putting this all together. And for some reason or other, very, very seldom does he forget to wear pink.
And I know
tonight he
this agreement
forgot.
was made pretty much off what the deal we did with Moberly
No, this
and
wasn't
Sedalia, and Sedalia too, but.
There was some Sedalia stuff in here, but
Yeah.
this is really the result of we're talking about how some stuff happens really fast. This is a one-year discussion that's gone into this, but in order to hire an economic developer, we probably need to be able to guarantee that person a number of years that they could work here. The funding for that is going to be contingent upon this agreement. So the intention was to have a 5-year agreement, but the intention also, by putting that thing in there, is that if for some reason things aren't working out, and we don't mean it to be easy to terminate, because we won't be able to hire anybody if it's easy to get out of the agreement. So there's a couple things there, Brent, and one is, let's have an avenue. So first of all, we put in there, it's a 3-year agreement, and then there's 2 additional
Right.
things. But none of those can be canceled without the agreement of all 3 entities. You know, the other thing is, if we hire this person and they're really successful, the chances of keeping them here for 5 years on what we hire them for this year is kind of slim also. So we might need this agreement to be able to be modified to pay that person more money.
Some incentives, I don't have a problem with
No,
that.
so I appreciate your concerns, but if this agreement is easily cancelable, it's going to cause us problems in hiring this person. There was input from everybody concerned in this agreement. So the IDA had a lot of discussions. The city had 3 representatives on a 5-person group that put a lot of time in this. The county had 1 person, and the IDA had 1 person. And Ned, we went 360 degrees around this thing, right? I mean,
And you know, Brett's point is good, but it's also what we had hoped for, was that in the short term, that it's not cancelable easily.
basically, what we're going to deliver to the city and also the county is a full-time person for what you were paying, a person putting a third of their time in. There is going to be a lot more time to spend on economic development and housing and some of the other things. It seems like this has taken an eternity. We haven't had an economic developer for almost a year now, or maybe it has been a year.
Probably has been.
We need to get the show back on the road.
Does that answer your question?
Well, it answers my question, but I still don't agree with it, but it answers it.
All right, good. Anybody else? Roll call.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Bozarth,
No,
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Thank you. Item E, consider resolution, thanks, Kenny. Consider resolution 2019-02 approving an agreement with Concrete Solutions LLC for Crown Street curb and gutter improvements, Phase 3.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri authorizing and approving an agreement between Concrete Solutions LLC and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to Crone Street curb and gutter improvements, Phase 3, and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville has solicited and received bids for this project and determined that Concrete Solutions LLC represents the best bid pursuant to the purchasing code set forth in section 2-20 of the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between Concrete Solutions LLC and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to the Crone Street curb and gutter improvements, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A and is attached hereto and made a part hereof, is hereby approved. Section 2, that the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval past this 20th day of May, 2019 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to be approved.
Second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Brad. Questions? Anybody have any questions? Questions for ML?
This is the third and final phase of a project we've done. Last year we did from a distance off of Main Street to Tisdale. This year we're going from Tisdale to the end to Stegner. And we had done previously a section of the street off of Main Street. We've already done Wayland some years ago, so this will tidy up a number of ongoing issues out in that neighborhood.
Thank you, sir. Roll call.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Bozarth,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Item F, consider a street closure request for Katy Bridge Coalition for Spirits of the Katy Bridge Festival on June 1, 2019. Gotta read it first. No? There's nothing to read? Todd, did you have some comments you wanted to make?
Just close for one block, there in front of Center Department.
Okay,
5 to 9,
fine,
very simple.
good. So you'd just like a favor, you'd like to see a motion and a vote, right? Okay, there you go. Thanks, Todd. That motion?
Make a motion to be approved.
Okay,
Second.
second, got a motion and a second. Any questions, discussion? Roll call.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Bozarth,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Don't sound too enthusiastic here. Item G has been removed. Reports of standing committees. Housing Authority. Morris?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was still reading. Good meeting, everything's moving forward down there, and, all the inspections they've gone through, they've got 100%, so we're in good shape.
Good, good. Whitney? Planning and zoning.
I was unable to make that meeting, but the minutes are in here. Looks like we had some activity.
Yeah, I missed it too. Sounded like it went well. Was there anything we should take note of, Kate?
No, nothing to note, except for that there will be a public hearing at the next city council meeting prior to the start at 7 PM to discuss the zoning changes for medical marijuana that you had the first reading on tonight.
Thank you. Reports of city officials? Well,
I don't have anything.
I have a reminder, but to department heads and to ourselves to make sure that we're still working on committee appointments, getting them done. And the department heads need to make sure they re-up, and I think you already did yours, didn't you, Mel? Yeah. Let's all live up to ML's example. How's that?
That's
City
scary.
clerk.
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Any miscellaneous? Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Go for it, Steve. Second?
Second.
Second, Brad. All in favor? Leave.